Thank you very much, Mr. Rivers. And with the Canadian Taxi Association, Mr. Andrew Way.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, and thank you for allowing me to speak today. I'm here to support the amendments to the increased collection of HST GST from the rideshare companies and affiliate drivers. My name is Marc Way. I'm the president of the Canadian Taxi Association. I'm also the chief operating officer of Coventry Connections since 2004, operating 1,500 taxis in 6 municipalities in Ontario. I'm also co-owner of Capital Taxi, which is a business that's been operating in Ottawa since 1938. My experience in ground transportation business is extensive in both taxi, limousine, black car, and sedan business. I'm an active member of the community. I hold a seat on the Transportation Committee of the Greater Ontario Chamber of Commerce, the Taxi Advisory of the City of Ottawa. I'm also a board member of the Taxi Limousine Paratransit Association, which is an international association celebrating its 100th year in 2010 of service. We are presenting today to support the government's decision to address the significant inequity in the application of GST HST that has a substantial impact on us and our members. The Canadian Taxi Association is the voice of the taxi industry in Canada. Our members consist of the largest companies in most major cities across Canada. We speak for an industry of 30,000 taxi owners and operators and over 50,000 taxi drivers, which undertake over $2 billion in consumer transactions on an annual basis. All taxi operators in Canada are required to be registered for GST and HST purposes and to charge, collect, and remit HST and GST on their fares regardless of their annual revenue. Rideshare companies such as Uber, Tapcar, and their drivers should be required to be registered. Typically, today they are not registered and do not charge or collect, report, and remit GST or HST. This creates a significant competitive disadvantage for our drivers and members and provides a direct competitive advantage to the rideshare companies and their drivers. The recent budget of 2017 levels the playing field for us. Over time, changes in the economy have made a number of provisions in the Canadian tax statutes less relevant than when they were first introduced. To address these changes, Budget 2017 proposes to amend the definition of a taxi business under the Excise Tax Act to leveling the playing field and ensure that rideshare businesses are subject to the same GST and HST rules as taxis. Our reasons for strongly supporting these measures above are to ensure a fair, equitable, consistent application of GST to all suppliers in the private transportation industry, including taxis and rideshare companies. Maintain a competitive private transportation industry unburdened by the arbitrary tax preferences. Simplify the application of GST and in private transportation industry for both consumers and suppliers. Ensure the stability of the federal government's HST GST revenues for the rideshare companies and their drivers, just as our members and drivers collect, report, remit for the government's benefit. Improve the operation of GST and for the benefit of all Canadians. In conclusion, the past unfair and inconsistent application of the excise tax small supplier registration exemption poses a significant threat to the competitiveness of the private transportation industry. Unless amendments to the excise tax are made, small supplier, rideshare companies and their drivers will have an arbitrary but significant price advantage in the market. Consumers will be forced to seek smaller suppliers, rideshare company drivers, in order to receive a lower fare. As a consumer continues to increase their reliance on the services offered by rideshare companies and their drivers, the federal government's GST revenues from the private transportation companies will steadily decline. Accordingly, we support the Government of Canada and the Department of Finance amendment to the excise tax to increase to address this inequitable application of the GST HST between our drivers and members and the rideshare companies and their drivers. Thank you.